Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
what's legal now but might become illegal 10 years from now? Accessing the internet anonymously. This is largely already gone. Tech companies spend a lot of time tracking everyone online for the purposes of selling ads. I can only imagine many governments are doing the same. VPNs and private browser allow for better anonymity online, but browsing the web with a VPN is a different experience. Many websites don't allow you to interact with them unless you are logged in and are identified. Some will block known VPN traffic entirely. The main reason is to prevent scammers, who will also hide behind them. The end result, however, is that accessing the internet anonymously is already very limited. Largely gone because of fingerprinting techniques and large datasets enabling de-anonymized data, but it's still not illegal to browse as anonymously as possible. Think of the children will be used to force an identity tied to every online account eventually. Using your kids for social media platforms that are monetized. At a minimum, there will be protections for minors and financial compensation required only in the child's name to be available when 18 when they appear in monetized channels. And social workers assigned if children will be in monetized channels, just like we have for child actors. Way too much abuse goes on to make a buck from kids. California passed a similar law, so the family channels who lived in California have moved to places like Texas and Tennessee. Owning things you buy. I was looking at ZBrush last night. I was annoyed they had billed $399 annually, and buy now. If I'm being billed annually, I'm not buying. I'm leasing. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. Quote: pimping your kids out on social media in return for freebies and likes. I don't get how this is still legal. Kids are not content. I can attest to that. I've been around a lot of children and none of them seemed content. With deepfakes getting scarily good, micro-targeting specific demographics with hyper-personalized and potentially misleading political ads might be banned to protect election integrity. We're already there and nobody cares. It's not that nobody cares. It's that not everyone can distinguish what's AI and what's not. Yeah, cause if it's one thing, we're on the fast track to its election integrity. Thinking thoughts that don't align with Palantir's agenda. Citizen, we have been notified of a potential thought crime. Prepare him for managed democracy. Training AI on copyrighted works without compensation to the copyright owners. Only if you're training a tiny, locally hosted model, though. Being anonymous on the internet. Being anonymous, period. Please FFS just make Ticketmaster illegal. I don't know what I mean by that, just make them go away. Hopefully online gambling. I give it a 0% chance. So what's that, like plus 5,000? I'll put $5 on that. Kratom. ATA, I'm not here to argue more. See my literal 100 comments. 70H is not a synthetic. It's a semi-synthetic made from oxidized mitragynine collected from whole plant kratom. Because it's made from kratom and is highly addictive, kratom has to be controlled. 70H is up to 22 times stronger than kratom and up to 40 times stronger than morphine. It is not possible to use safely. Regulation is the only way to prevent death by 70H in products. Got addicted to it not even knowing how addictive it is. Trying for months to slowly wean off it, not easy. Got a trip abroad in May though and don't want to take it with me, so shooting for that. This way if it ever suddenly goes away, at least I won't be in diabolical withdrawal territory. You need to cold turkey it yesterday if you want to be clean by May. Just saying. Kind of like salvia in the 2000s. It wasn't on the radar, so you could buy it at any bomb shop. Eventually, it caught enough attention that it became regulated. Difference being, salvia is a terrifying experience and not at all addictive. Kratom is a very pleasant high, and is very much addictive. I'm sure you can still find salvia online, but there just isn't much demand for a substance that launches you to outer space and experience 1,000 years of hell in 5 minutes before you return to your body. Kratom will surely be regulated sooner than later, but will have some lingering black market. Part of the reason why salvia is so upsetting is that people often take 20x, 50x, or 100x extracts, as in 20x more powerful than the unprocessed plant, which is on its own sufficient to cause psychoactive effects. Marijuana would be pretty damn terrifying if you smoked a bowl 50x more powerful than raw flower the first time you tried it too. A 50x drink of alcohol is chemically impossible, but would be lethal if it could exist. Reasonable regulation would just be to ban extremely high potency. There is legitimately no reason that should be the default being sold. Man, that is a very accurate way to describe salvia use. 70H. I wish more people knew the difference between kratom, extracts, and 70H. I fear the latter two will get kratom banned. I believe kratom leaf should be legal but regulated, while the 70H extract should be illegal. That's my position. I do use kratom, but only in leaf form brewed as tea. I won't touch the drinks or concentrated extracts they sell. In my view, only regulated leaf powder should be legal. Criticizing the leadership. Sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship. Padme, 37 days in jail for criticizing the GOP. https://www.thefire.org/news/he-spent-37-days-jail-post-now-fire-has-his-back. This is just insane. I'm glad Fire is helping him with a lawsuit against the police department. Hopefully planned obsolescence and subscription-based ownership of physical items. John Deere, I'm looking at you. Right to repair is fundamental for so many reasons. Ecological damage, resource conservation, protection of private property rights. I think that it will be illegal to pull an apple and ruin your customer's old phone without their permission. It will be illegal to force a customer to pay monthly for the seat heaters in the car that they bought to remain functional. It will be illegal to prevent people from being able to work on their own machines. John Deere should not be able to break your $500,000 tractor from a satellite without your permission because you worked on it without theirs. I like the idea, but no way, it doesn't just get worse. Most of your rights, with special emphasis on voting. Planting seeds and getting more seeds from what you've planted yourself. This is already illegal. Monsanto has sued countless farmers for using seeds they own the patent on that simply blew onto their property. It's more complex than that. There has been a total of one case related to this, and it was against a farmer, Percy Schmeisser. This guy had deliberately gone and collected the seeds from immediately adjacent to the field he knew had Monsanto's seeds in it, then actively selected for the Roundup-resistant trait from those seeds through multiple generations. Monsanto, which also no longer exists, having been bought out by Bayer, is no angel, but this case isn't anywhere near as cut and dried as it's often made out to be. Furthermore, most grain farmers explicitly do not keep a portion of their crop from year to year. Growing crops for seed is a specialized skill and requires a higher level of cleanliness and weed reduction than growing for food, feed sale. Additionally, good practices have them switching out the crops year to year so as to not deplete the soil, and also in response to market conditions. Becoming rich enough to avoid legal repercussions for any crime, no matter how heinous. Just kidding, nothing will ever happen to them. As an American, it feels like home visits from police for something you posted on social media that caused another person distress is right around the corner. It's been happening now. Just saw a video a couple days ago where the sheriff's department showed up at a guy's house because he was criticizing the mayor. Wasn't threatening, calling for violence, anything like that, just criticizing the job he's done. The sheriff said they were just checking in on him because the mayor had concerns over his post. Wow, that's straight up intimidation. I had friends that did this for certain companies, but using the police force in this day and age. Smoking in cars with children. How is that still legal, lol? Checked, turns out it varies by state in the USA. In Europe it varies by country. So it's not as legal as though. My mom used to roll the windows up during winter, but at least I got accused of being a smoker from 3rd grade until I got my own car. I wouldn't be shocked if legislation was introduced in the US to make massive anonymous campaign donations illegal again. You definitely should be surprised if that ever happens, because it would require the people who regularly take that money to vote against getting that money. If the government, US, has its way, all opioid prescription drugs will be illegal, probably in less than 10 years. They are already forcing a lot of hospitals to adopt an IV Tylenol-only approach for both chronic and acute pain, including post-op. One of my friend's daughters just had a Whipple surgery that required her to be cut from stern to stem, then the incision burst open more than halfway, and they told her she had inoperable, terminal liver cancer. Through all of this, they only gave her ibuprofen and her oncologist refuses to write her anything stronger. That's such a fucking inhumane and absurd approach, so on brand for this country to fluctuate between two horrible extremes rather than do anything reasonably. We went from giving people a 30-day supply of opioids with refills for routine dental surgeries to this puritanical swing of the pendulum. Fucked. My husband went to the walk-in clinic with unspecified back pain and got a week of Vicodin. I went to the ER with 3 days of intractable migraine, vomiting, and sky-high blood pressure from, 3 days of pain. I was given Tylenol and Zofran, and fluids. They refused to do anything else when it did not touch the pain. At least when I lost my shit at the ER doctor, I got ketamine to calm me down, since I was hysterical. Face with rolling eyes. Keep in mind, I've gotten migraines for 40 fucking years and have never had an issue with painkillers. I'm not going to start now, FFS. Pain in women is so undertreated. Ask most any woman with an IUD, or who used to have one. I had a radical nephrectomy, which was a 4 hours surgery to remove a kidney. left with unattached guts, and 6 holes in my abs varying from 3 to 4 to 12 to 14 centimeters. They sent me home 24 hours later with 6 oxy, a day and a half supply. Most painful experience of my life for 3 days after the oxy ran out. Couldn't even take NSAIDs because of 1 kidney. My mom just had total back reconstruction surgery in January, 2 rods inserted and all of her discs replaced. It took over a week for them to finally give her morphine, a week of not being able to sleep because of the pain. And then of course they gave her fuck all, not even oxycodone, when she left the hospital, so she hasn't been sleeping much either at the rehab center or at home. Please make sure she reports this doctor and writes reviews on any platforms the doctor is on. I'm a travel nurse for the last 8 years. I worked all over the country. I've never worked at a hospital that doesn't let people have pain medicine. That is 100% up to the doctor. Some doctors just don't give pain medicine, but it's not a hospital policy. For somebody who has had a Whipple, chances are they are not giving her pain medicine because it will slow down the GI tract as a side effect, and because of her having the surgery and the type of surgery she had, her GI tract was completely stopped, and trying to get it started again is a big concern after a Whipple. I have taken care of patients that the GI tract does not start peristalsis again after a Whipple, and it's insanely painful. To go through some pain in order to avoid permanent pain is pretty much the goal. If her GI tract never gets back on board working properly, then we're talking IV nutrition instead of real nutrition. Constant nausea and vomiting forever. And constant high level of pain forever. It just blows my mind that in this day and age we still don't have any viable alternatives. We went from one extreme to another, and stuck in the middle are the people with legitimate medical need and low addiction risk who could seriously benefit from them. It's a huge oversight, and I don't understand why developing non-addictive options hasn't been a bigger priority.